This mic, this mic, this mic, this mic, this mic, this mic, this mic. All right, good morning, everyone. It's market had been open. It's 9:35 in the morning, May 14, 2024. And unfortunately, internet is still not working in the new place. So we are this setup and we'll make it work. So I am actually on my traveling setup, so only two screens. So it's not going to be as efficient as when we're using the desktop, but two screens for a traveling setup should be okay. And the same thing, same drill. We'll look for our strategies and wait for the setup to come to us. Using the desktop, but all right, so SPY is flat. It is up by 0.08 cents, so not a lot there. And let's see here with regards to putting in our levels. Yeah, that's the thing about this setup. Let me check if I have my cheat sheet here. All right, good. So here's some information. Put in our toolbars. So the challenging part of not having the desktop setup is even my hotkeys is not working. And of course, with only having two screens, it's going to be a tougher day to day trade. So it's 9:37. Market had been open for 7 minutes, a bit late today. And for our watch lists, let's look at our gappers. So the same thing, we look at the one that had a gap up of more than 3%. So I'm looking at GME. So let's see, GME is up. It's already halted. So GME halted, and let's see, it's up by 87.2%. And now it is having a pullback. Oh, wow. So yesterday looks like GME had a very exciting day, opened at 25 and then closed at 36, and then today a huge gap of more than 87%. The thing is, this symbol is not shortable. It's hard to borrow, so Interactive Broker is not allowing us to short this stock, so that means we are not going to be able to trade this one. I would like to do a long if a stock is able to be shorted. The reason why I like trading a stock that can be shorted as well is because of the short squeeze capacity of that. So right now, since it's not shortable, I will just watch GME just because it looks very exciting. It is up by 87%. But other than that, I would be very cautious on this. Now, AMC is about to get halted here as well. It is up by 98%. I don't have my Benzinga on, but something is up with this Reddit stock, but it looks very exciting from yesterday as well as today. So putting in our levels with the 5 minutes, wow, this is getting halted on the way down. And same thing with AMC. AMC as well as GME is not shortable or hard to borrow stocks, so we are not able to trade this one. I'm only interested in trading this one if it's gonna go um, or I can trade it on both side, which is to the long as well as to the short. So right now, the exciting part here is it closed at 514 and then open at 10. So that is 100% gain overnight. So for those who swing this one is like a very risky play. And this is what I call a gambling kind of play. Because unless you have a strategy for that, then it would be very hard to trade that stock. And is Rivian is not halted, but Rivian is up by 5.7%. So with GME AMC, the one that has the most potential, what I can see here is Rivian. Rivian at least is a reliable stock. The thing that I don't like is I was trading Rivian before as a swing. I did have to close my position. So yeah. So next one is Hood, HOOD. So Hood is a gap up by 8%. A lot of movers today. So this is the kind of day that I was hoping that we get to trade in our desktop just because there's a lot of movers. And with a lot of movers, there will be a lot of opportunity as well. But we will just adapt and we'll do what we can do. So with the setup of the laptop as well as not having the desktop, as long as the setup comes to us and we don't chase those stocks, then we should be okay. So that is Hood. Hood is up by 7.6, and then we have RDDT. Is this a Reddit stock? Reddit. Oh boy, something is up with that community because Reddit, they're the one who had the pump and dump with GME and AMC, and they are up as well today. So be very careful with these three stocks: AMC, GME, RDDT, or Reddit, as well as Hood. These are the three stocks. If you have watched that movie, the I think it's called Easy Money, and those are the three stocks, even the four stocks that was discussed in that movie. So be very careful with this. All right, going back to Rivian. Rivian is up by 6.7%. Looking at our daily has a little bit of a resistance right there at 11.93. Right now, it is at 11.75, had that resistance at 11.75, and then now having a pullback. Now, just looking at the bid and the ask spread, asked has a lot of orders sitting there. We even have 141, add two zeros next to it, so that would be 14,000 that's waiting to be filled. So 11.60, yep, that's was already filled. So that's the one. Now let me put this one in the lower time frame and let me turn off my pre-market data here, which is not as straightforward. The thing is, after I updated my DAS with this laptop, the upgrade in DAS is not as straightforward as the one that's in the old DAS. That's why I still like the old DAS because it's straightforward. You get to see your, they just make it easy. Once they upgraded, then they make everything hidden. I know they're trying to just make it clean, but making it clean when you're so used to seeing stuff where they're used to, where they're at, but yeah, that's just part of it. So having that resistance at 11.69 here with Rivian, while I'm looking at that, since I only have two screens here, I'm only looking at six stocks today. So unlike when we are on our desktop, we're watching at least 16 stocks. Right now, I'm literally just watching six stocks. I'm watching GME, AMC, Rivian, Wood, Reddit, and SPY. So SPY is breaking R3 and Rivian is about to break that resistance as well, 11.69. So with Rivian, it looks like it's a VWAP play. You have a VWAP here at the 15, very strong. So this is a potential for a long, 11.68. It has an order sitting right there at 11.70. So thinking of doing long at Rivian, stop loss is just below the VWAP. Now looking at the 5 minutes, 5 minutes, it's just under consolidation. The 1 day, we are on a gap up. Now the move in Rivian happened at the pre-market. If you see this 30 minutes, there is that nice move all the way up. And I'm just trying to lower down my risk here by trying to get an entry close to the VWAP. So but this one looks like a potential for a VWAP. Now, what I'm looking at here is the 5 minutes. The volume bar is depleting here when this is pushing up. So that's the only thing that's making me on the sideline. But if we have a confirmation at our, okay, so just putting in an order here. Hotkeys is not working in this laptop. So that's the thing that I don't like. Gonna have to do a marketable order. All right, so started Rivian while I tried to figure out on how to be able to trade with horizontal study config. Let me just put this one on the other side while we watch Rivian here. Figure. So small position with Rivian, stop loss is just below the VWAP. Trying to see if it's gonna give us an area, a good area where we can add to that position. But at the same time, I'm just trying to figure out as well, just because 11.79, we are about to break that resistance. So I added to my position with Rivian, and all right, so we'll do this one manually. All right, so with Rivian, I know my screen is very tight. Again, I'm just trading in my laptop here, but added in Rivian. Let's see if I can add to that order, 11.72. There is a bunch of orders sitting at the bid as well, so be very careful with that. Added to that order in Rivian to the long. And then now, um, stop loss here is at the VWAP, which is VWAP here, 11.56, 11.56 is here. So we encountered a resistance right there at 11.69. 11.56 will be our stop loss here with Rivian. Um, just looking at the rest of the stocks that are movers, GME is falling like a rock here. So GME looks like it opened at 65. While I'm looking at Rivian, just looking at the rest of the stocks. GME opened at 65 and now at 47. So imagine those that had FOMO on that and jump into that stock. So with Rivian, we are encountering that very strong resistance, 11.69. That is the high of the pre-market. And that's where we are encountering that strong resistance. If we break off of that resistance, then we should be good to go. Right now, there's still no imbalance between the bid and the ask. So expect a lot of consolidation to happen here. Just looking at yesterday, what happened and what transpired looks like yesterday after the open, first 30 minutes, after the 30 minutes, then Rivian was basically just flat. So 1169, we are back in that resistance. Average cost here is 11.721. Now with the ad, not the best ad there, but yeah, our average cost here is that 11.71. Now, if you notice bid and the ask, there's still no imbalance. 11.6973. There you go. So now at least we broke off of that resistance, and 11.75, that is the new resistance that we have. High of the day is 11.78. So expect some resistance at that level. So sure enough, after it reached the high of this previous 5-minute candlestick, we got a rejection there. So now we are back at 11.70. Now GME looks like it is halted on its way up. So let's look at that. GME here halted, but look at the 15 minutes, that drop right there. That's why I don't recommend trading any of this highly manipulated stocks, because if you get on the wrong side of the stock, then yeah, that will be so hard with your capital and you are risking your capital. So I would rather trade those boring stocks that I know are at least not as risky, and I don't like playing that big risk of a stock. You can hit a home run, but hitting that home run includes a bigger risk, and I'm not willing to take that risk. So now with thinking of, should I ask or should I add to this account or to this position? Right now we're encountering another resistance there. All right, countered another resistance. 11.72. Now, what I'm seeing with the 15 minutes though is we're still higher high, higher low. So this move is just for 11.42 to 11.78. So we're talking about 30 cents move with Rivian. That can be already a good move with Rivian. So let's see what Rivian will do at 11.77. 11.77 is the high of the day. So let's just put in that level there as well. I do have a couple of meetings today, so I'm not going to be able to trade um for the whole day today. Planning to trade just a half day today and then yeah, go from there. So we're encountering the next resistance here, 11.75. We do see that buildup of orders in the ask. So this is gonna pop to 11.80. Seeing those 11.80, see here, 11.80, 11.76 there. I am thinking of, and I added to my position in Rivian. Pull back right there, 11.77. Let's look at our 1 minute. Not the best ad, but we have been encountering that higher high, higher lows. 15 minutes still looking good. All right, so what I'm seeing here is 11.78 starting to have a build up there, 11.80. So this is gonna pop to 11.80. So yep, we are there, 11.80. Now we have now passed through and make a new high. So new high here is at 11.81, back to that resistance, which is the opening high, which is at 11.78. We did see that pop at 11.80, which was already anticipated just because of the buildup and the orders that was sitting under the ask. So now 11.85. So now this trade is looking good. So we have 11.86, 85, 82 now. And we are starting to see that momentum for this to push higher. 11.86. We did maximize our volume here with trying to add to this. So now we're 11.90, 81, and perfect. So time to take some partial here. We are heading to 12. All right, so just partialing here, just taking some profits there. We are at R5, so very strong resistance there. And 11.92, 11.92 here. Let's see. Looking for a pop there. Looking at the tape, we are 11.90. All right, so exited my position. I could have just partialed, but the thing with my montage is I do not even have that 50% partial. I do not have that 25, the usual partialing um in my montage. But yeah, this one still is gonna pop. I did not like that it was consolidating at that level, so I did get 100% out, but this one looks it's gonna head to 12. GME. Now that we have a buffer, we can look at the different stock here. Yeah, looks like this is gonna head to 12. Now that we have a buffer, GME already is under halt. Hood, SPY. Gosh, this is still heading higher. Still heading higher. And we just went out. So the thing with this is, for those of you who are asking, okay, so when do you short? For a gap up, you don't want to be in front of this bullishness. It is a gap up, it is up by 9.2%. There, you don't have a business of shorting a very strong stock. This can easily just get you stop out, and the bias here is bullish. So no point of shorting a stock that is very strong. So let's look at the 1 minute. So 1 minute is having that pullback there, 11.87. What I want Rivian to do is to go close to VWAP again. And at that VWAP, we can add to the position to the long. But right now, even if the 15 minutes is higher high, higher lows, we are so far from the VWAP that it can just have a pullback and retest the VWAP before it goes higher again. So that means right now the risk is high to enter this one long. You want to have a pullback, and this is where that bull flag pattern comes into play. You don't want to go long when it's going higher high, higher low. You want to go long when you get a pullback, which is forming a bull flag, and you enter at the pullback. So what we're waiting for is for Rivian to pull back close to the VWAP, and that level right there, what I'm looking for is a price of around 11.70. 11.70, I'm willing to risk to go long again. But if it doesn't go to 11.70, then there's no trade to take. So 11.70, we're talking about this level right here. So right now we are just at 11.85. If I did not get to sell all my position when I entered and added at this, then I could have just trailed my stop. The thing is, I did not get to trail my stop because my first hotkeys is not working in the laptop. I haven't configure it out, and the partially in the montage is not set up as well. So it had a pullback at 11.82, but I need this to pull back at least 11.70s before I even get to consider this one to a long. Now, if we look at the 1 minute, the big volume here came at that push, which is more than 500,000 shares. Now, this one has not a lot of volume in the 1 minute, so that can easily just break that support, that 9 EMA, which is just what's happening now. Looking at GME found the support at 45 and then now moved from around 45 to 55. So that's a $10 move in GME. So Rivian, so 1 minute time frame, it did give us that bull flag pattern where you have a pole here, you have a flag, and that flag you can enter that at that pullback. I just wanted to enter it at a higher time frame in the 5 minutes. In the 5 minutes, it just went to 11.83. Not a lot of pullback for me to be able to trigger a trade because if we enter it the 1 minute, then 11.86, 11.97, this is now we're talking about scalp trading because we're only talking about 10 cents there. So unless you put in a big order, you're not going to get a lot from that move. Whew, whew. But right now, yeah, that's the move. That's the 12. Boom. So that 12, the pop in the 12 was like very visible because of that big order that was sitting here at the ask column. There were, I think, like 100,000 shares that was waiting to be filled with that ask. Look at this volume bar right here. That is 1.4 million that pushed through with that $12. All right, so let's give Rivian a break here because it did not give us the trigger. Now, what is Hood doing? Hood, one of those meme stock, it moved from 17.73 and then now about to break the high of the day. So 18.35, that is a very strong resistance as well, which was touched back in May 6th. So May 6th, there is a strong resistance there, trying to break off of that resistance. So I am willing to, let's see, there's a big order sitting at the ask here. This is shortable, so Hood is good to trade off of because you can ride both a short and a long. So I put in a market order, but it did not give me, wow. I put in an order for it 18.37 before it popped and it did not fill my shares. So that one was already a move of 5 cents. So started a small position with Hood to the long. Would like to add to this position if it goes and have a pullback at 18.38. It's not having a pullback and it's not giving me the shares that I needed. All right, so entered Hood with a long with that still we're in 36 minutes into the trade. So this is still an opening range breakout because we broke off of high of the day, which is that strong resistance at 18.36. Waiting for a little bit of a pullback before adding to this position. So 18.36, this is the support. Now, initially was a resistance that turned into a support. So at 18.36, I would like to add to this position. That was a big orders for sellers. So 18.45, there is a big order sitting at 18.50 at the ask. So this is going to pop to 18.50. Now with Rivian, that's why we let go of Rivian because this one is already 1.7 million that pushed through. So unless there is more volume than 1.5 million, then Rivian will just get stuck in consolidation. Now with Hood, the thing that I don't like here with a small time frame or in the 1 minute is this is a lot of volume here. So volume bar is starting to pick up here with the pullback. So let's see if this support is gonna turn into a resistance. Right now, it is acting as a strong support. Big order at 18.50. So let's see here. If I was aggressive, I could have added that position at 18.37. And yeah, 18.50 coming through here. So wanted to have a pullback, 18.40. Since I cannot adjust my cursor, my vertical lines, I would have to do a marketable order, and that's what I've been doing. Marketable order. So I jump in at what for me, since buying, I jump in above ask. So now we're trying to break off of that 18.49. There is 18.50 here, which is 26,000. So 18.50, that is the move. This is going to pop 18.50. Not a lot of momentum there, unlike Rivian when it encountered that 12.1. So 18.50 incoming again, big order right there. As long as they don't cancel that, then that should have that momentum for this to push higher. So 18.50, just there you go, 1850, but that one was a quick fill and then resistance after. So 1850, we're now 1850. We have 18.48. Let's look at our 5 minutes. 5 minutes looking strong. So hands is on the trigger just because my average cost here is 18.47. Got a resistance there at 18.50. Strong resistance at 1850. SPY having a little bit of a pullback in the 5 minutes. Back in 18.48. Reddit is being such a meme stock. 18.48. I don't like that there is a lot of orders now sitting at the bid rather than the ask. So stop loss here is that 18.37. I don't like that there's buildup of the bid and the compared to the ask. So 18.37. So my average cost here is 18.40. Let's see, 46. 18.37. So I'm risking 10 cents with this trade. All right, there is a buildup now at 18.55, which is very bullish. So buildup of 18.55. If this push through that 18.55, then this trade is gonna be a good trade. Rivian still having a pullback. SPY is pushing higher. SPY have created new high of the day. This trade right here looks good. 18.51. Some sellers is there. Back to 1850. Back to 1849. All right, 18.55. Where did it go? So remember that those orders right here, they can easily cancel those. So that's why hands is on the trigger here. 18.48. 46 is my entry. 46. Waiting for a pop to 55. 50. There are some orders sitting here at 55. I don't like that it had been encountering that very strong. All right. So I closed my position. I closed my position before that move. So now I went all out at 18.5. Then the push happened at 18.55. I'm just late by 3 seconds. So 3 seconds, and that already just made a big difference there. But that is still a green trade. Rivian here, this is the pullback that I was waiting for. That pullback there is all right. I'm considering still an entry to Rivian to a long if it goes to 11.70. Now, what I'm looking for here is an entry to the long. It had a big rejection at 12.11. Now, is it done pushing versus did it encountered a strong support? This is the level where there were 1.5 million shares that actively pushed through and bought the shares. So let's see if this one is still the buyers are going to defend it or not. Looking at the five, that five is a big rejection there. This doji right here. So you have high of the day, you got the doji, which is also an inside bar. That could be a good place to short. And of course, the stop loss is the high of the day. This is about to go to 11.70. So 11.80, that is the support now. That is the 9 EMA. The 5 minutes looks good just because we are encountering that nice 9 EMA. This is what we call a 9 EMA play as well. The only thing though is the bid has a lot of orders sitting right there. There is even a 11.80. So we're waiting for that 11.80 to get filled. But look at the 15 minutes. So this is what you call a harmonious trade. Your 5 minutes looks like it's ready for a push stop. Your 15 minutes is just encountering that bearish um, area where you have this inverted hammer. The short is gonna be so excited to see this one because you can short it at this level at 11.82 with a stop loss of either the R5 or the high of the day. So if I only look at the 5 minutes, I can say that okay, that is ready for a push up. But if you look at the higher time frame, which is the 15, 15 is very bearish. So 15, you don't want to deal with this because this is looking very weak. So you don't want to long this stock because the 15 is looking like a short. Now we exited our position with hood, but it eventually did get to touch that level at 11.5659. I did not like that it had been consolidating at this level for a while because the thing is with this meme stock, this can just go very quickly in either direction. That's why when I saw that it's retesting that resistance couple of times, that was the trigger for me to be out of that trade. So this is what we were talking about when I say that the 15 minutes looking very weak. Look at this one now. Those who were short at this level of 11.81 already had that move of almost zero point zero 0.09 cents. 15 minutes looking very weak. Look at this one there. Now, initially, I was waiting for a pullback for Rivian for a long at 11.70, which it did touch 11.75. The only thing that I don't like is now the higher time frame, which is the 15. 15 looks weak for me. So if that is the case, then my thesis now is invalidated. I don't want to go against my thesis. Thesis here initially was a pullback at 11.70 if it's looking long. But now that we have this inverted hammer, it doesn't look like a long anymore. For me, it looks like a short. So what the Rivian can do is fill the gap to all the way to 11.22. But since it is a gap up, it's very risky to short Rivian for now. So that's why we are not going to be touching Rivian and we'll look for an easy trade. Now look at Hood. Hood, we build up our position here and then exited their position. There is that very strong resistance being encountered at 18.58. That's the reason why we just exited our position. And look at what happened after we exited the position. It is just having that pullback. That pullback now is more than 10 cents. So for scalpers, that is just enough for them to make money out of that. So Reddit, on the other hand, is fill the gap. So it opened, filled the gap all the way to 59.54 before moving higher. So that is a move of $4. That is actually is a good move. Now with Hood, Hood encountered that support at the initial high or that level right there, 18.36. I just don't trust this one anymore just because the setup and the pattern is broken. Just like Rivian, a pattern in Rivian is broken. You have the inverted hammer. Now there is a support that is happening at 9 EMA. You cannot trust that. It can go either direction. It can go long, it can go short. the higher time frame is telling me that this is not this the pattern is broken and this one now is a short. So yeah, not worth it to um have that Rivian, to trust Rivian for now. So it's 10:20. And let's see, if we get to find any other stocks to trade, then we'll do. Otherwise, we'll call it a day. So just a short trading day. And yeah, sorry for streaming late today. Just don't have the internet yet at home. We will be back at it next Tuesday. So let's see. Frontier, apparently they don't have it set up yet in our area, so they need to have the cable guy go in and set it up, and they they're just taking their time to do that. But by next week, next Tuesday, we should be able to stream on time and in the new place. So this is the reason why we exited Rivian. Look at this one. We were calling it out that this one looks like a short now, and from that call out of a short, it already moved by 11 cents. And let's see, also Hood. Hood, we exited Hood just because look at now, it had that big pullback. So the way that you get to see whether is it time for you to take profit and to run away with your money is how big of a resistance or a pullback are you seeing? You look at the higher time frame. If the higher time frame is telling you, there is a surge of buyers that's pushing through, but a higher time frame tells you otherwise, then you have to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, and from there, you get a higher probability of that move. So we only traded two stocks today, Hood and Rivian, and it's just enough for us to have a profitable day. So that's why, with the trade, we don't have to make it complicated. The easier it is, rinse and repeat setup, the better. That's when you can find your consistency. Now, Rivian is falling like a rock here. This is the thesis that we have is it can fill the gap, which is the high of yesterday is 11.19. Now, that support is very strong because that was also tested back in May 7th. So I won't be surprised if Rivian tested that support, which is at 11.13. Reddit, very interesting here, but this one is very risky stock because it had moved from 59 to 65. One of those meme stock. What is interesting is how the 5 minutes is playing out. The 5 minutes, once this one closes below 64, then you have an inverted hammer. So even before a um that candlestick closes, you already picture it in your head. What would it be? If it closes below the current price, then that will be a red candlestick. And that red candlestick, it is an inverted hammer. Pardon the background. They're just cutting grass. But yeah, I know it's loud. But yeah, so that's how you anticipate the move. With Reddit, again, if it closes below the current price where it's at, then it is forming that inverted hammer in the 5 minutes. And of course, that inverted hammer, if it's the high of the day, that can be a signal as well of having it as a very bearish. Now, Rivian is getting interesting. Rivian is testing this support right here, 11.5. So 11.5 right now, it is, let's trying to see if there is any opportunity for Rivian to go long here. The only thing is with the bid, there's so many orders sitting at the bid now rather than the ask that it doesn't look like this is ready for a reversal yet. it looks like it still has the juice for this one to go down. So you don't want to touch Rivian when it's consolidating, and you don't want to touch the falling knife. So what you want to do is wait for a strong support to happen before even trying to long Rivian again. The strong support in Rivian is going to be the low of the day, which is low of the day is 11.48, and then 11 point, let's see, 41 is the low of the day. And looks like this is going to test that support. But again, it can go all the way to 11.19. So let's see here. Hood is having a pullback as well. Hood was shortable, but very risky if you want to short it just because it is a gap up. What my recommendation had been is for a gap up, of course, our bias is long. For a gap down, our bias is short, unless otherwise, you get to see that your thesis is invalidated. But right now, I won't even dab into shorting Hood because it's too early to do a reversal. It's less than an hour of a market since the market had been open. So shorting something or shorting a very strong stock would be very risky at this point. So no, not recommending to short any of the stocks that we're watching. If you notice, we are only watching six stocks again just because we are trading off of a laptop. So all those six stocks, those are our gap up lists. And so all of them we are long bias. And with those six stocks that we were watching, we only traded two stocks, which were not bad for the day and not bad for just trading from our laptop. So if there's no other setup, then we'll call it a day. 1 hour into the trade, and we are done for the day. So just trying to see what Hood is gonna do and what Rivian is gonna do with this support. That support, yeah, this is gonna break that support. Look at the imbalance now. There is more order sitting at the bid compared to the ask. There's like three digits here, so remember to put two zeros at the end. So that will be, yeah, that was a big order that pushed through 120, 111. So that will be 11,000 shares that is waiting to be filled. And since it's in the bid, I know it's counterintuitive, but how I see it is if there's so many orders sitting at the bid, they are not desperate for them to get the fill. They know that the price will come to them, so they have the confidence that price will come to them, so they wait for that lower price to come to them. That's the reason why that makes it very bearish if you see big orders sitting at the bid. So this is why we did not have a long bias with Rivian after we saw some people say they call it shooting star, but that inverted hammer with a gap up, that is an A plus setup for a short. I just did not short it because it is a gap up, and that's a higher risk for a short. But look at that move. For those who were short bias and who is aggressive enough to do this is they could have entered at 11.81, the low of this candlestick, and that 11.81, that's already at 30 cents. So that is a good move right there. Now, look at this one, 1150. This is 1150 incoming. So bunch of print, there you go. 1150 just printed just because you look at the window. The window says, you have 14 thousand orders sitting there. Now there is still lots of orders sitting there. There's even 11.46, 11.47. So look at the tape. Those 11.46, 47 will be printed right here. And yeah, it's just happening. So that's how you use your tape as well as your level 2. Now we are testing the low of the day, 11.48. 11.48. I don't think that will be a support because, yeah, this is going to test 11.41 just because of the bias, the bearishness that's happening here in the bid column. Now, even SPY is looking like a short here. You have the 5 minutes with SPY, you have a big push, which is VPA, volume price analysis. This is an anomaly. You get a very small volume bar with a very large candlestick. You have an inverted hammer here. Short sellers could have been lining up here to short this one at 522 with a stop loss of 522.42. So with the risk of around 30 cents, with the SPY, that can be the case. Now, let's see for the daily. Daily, wow, SPY is just so strong. And I won't be surprised if SPY create a new record high before the week ends. Because looks like the high is 524.31. We're only on Tuesday, so probably by Friday we could have created new high of the day with SPY. But usually a Friday is a pullback because investors as well as swing traders don't want to have to go through that pain over the weekend, and whatever the news might be over the weekend, what I usually see is a Friday is a pullback where they just want to sell or cover their shares and do not have to deal with some news that's going to happen over the weekend. All right, so I think that's it. Right now, I cannot trust Rivian. Rivian can easily just break the support and can test the strong support yesterday, which the strong support is going to be the high of yesterday, which is 11.19. So that is around 30 cents away. And so there's no trades to take right now with Rivian. Rivian is still going lower and still has some room for this to go down at 11.19. And then with Hood, I wouldn't trust Hood as well to have the momentum for this one to go higher just because for the 5 minutes, look at your volume bar. Your volume bar at the 5 minutes is dying when it's pushing down, which is it's very good if you are long, but look at this candlestick right here. So volume price analysis, you have a big volume, volume bar right here is medium size. You have a big candlestick with a small volume bar. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the momentum for this one to push higher is starting to die down. So if there's no volume for this to have that pushed higher, then there's just not gonna have enough juice for this one to go past through that resistance. That resistance right there is 18.59. Now it's a bit tricky to short Hood at the moment. First is we are just 1 hour into the market open. The next thing is it is a gap up. So right at the get-go, you should be longing, not shorting. Now, with regards to the first red candlestick in the 15 minutes, this one is a hammer. What you wanted to see is like, let's see, where is my example here? My example here earlier is the inverted hammer, which is the Rivian inverted hammer on the 5 minutes, and you have the doji at the 5. So inverted hammer at the 15 and doji at the 5. That was an indicator for you that okay, this one is looking short. But with the Hood, it's very tricky because even if this is the first red candlestick at the 15 minutes, it's not inverted. So what happened there is sellers push this one down and buyer still was able to push this higher, thus having the closing price at 18.51. So that's why you cannot trust this one to the short yet. Hence, that's the reason why it had that push from 59 to 66. Now, Rivian is getting interesting. We do have the doji there, but not a lot of volume bar still. So this one can still push down. So yeah, I think we can call it a day. So we are 1 hour into the trading day. We only traded two stocks today. And again, apologies for being late. Just did not have the setup yet at home, no internet connection yet. So we're just trading in the laptop. And that's why it's a smaller chart today compared from our usual setup. So, all right. So good morning everyone. It's May 14, 2024, 10:35 in the morning, 1 hour into the trading day and we are done trading. So we only traded two stocks today, which is Rivian as well as Hood. What I noticed at the open, we were able to start the day past 9:30 today. And what I noticed is there is a lot of gap up movers. Those gap up are those meme stocks. If you have watched that movie, The Easy Money, you would have seen all those meme stock that is currently or at play today. So what are those meme stocks? First is GME. GME had a huge gap up of opening at 65 and then now giving it back at 52. So first meme stack. I don't know what's the news. I just base it from the technical levels. As a technical trader, I base it from how it looks like. And at the same time, if looking at the 15 minutes, it had moved from 48, 60 to 65. We're talking about more than, what is that? Almost $20 move. And that would give you a very risky play. So I did not get to trust this GME. So what I did was I was just watching GME, trying to see what the move it'll do, but I have no business in trading GME. Next one is AMC, another meme stock. So yesterday looks like the pumpers were able to pump this from 3.5 to 5.92. So that's almost couple of dollars move from a very cheap stock. And then today it had opened from um let's see, from 5 all the way to 12. So those who have the nerve to hold this one overnight, well, I commend you guys. Probably have made tons of money with holding this, but just a very risky. So that's not the trades that I'm into. SPY is having a pullback right now. I'm not surprised. And there's probably a news, but I have my Benzinga off. So yeah, let's just see what it will do. Now, Rivian here, almost close to that support that we were talking about, which is 11.17. Hood as well is having that pullback. So going back to the meme stock, the stocks that we were watching and not planning to trade were GME, AMC, you have the Hood, and you have the Reddit. So this in itself is just like watching the movie. If you guys haven't watched it, I think it's called Easy Money. So it's about that guy, the hot guy who made tons of money in holding his AMC position. And all these four stocks were included in that movie. So in that AMC, that GME, that Hood, and that Reddit. So it felt like this is just highly manipulated stocks and highly manipulated day. It doesn't even feel like it is those kind of stocks that is being traded by large institution. This is just a highly speculative stocks. And with that speculation, you have to know that speculating a move can give you a home run. At the same time, it can give you a high risk where you can, if you get stuck in the wrong side of the trade, that is just enough for you to lose your capital, lose your account. So that's why if there's no A plus setup, there's no business for you to enter in that trade. Reddit now is having that pullback, SPY as well having that pullback. So that's the reason why we traded only two stocks today. And let's start off with Rivian. So with Rivian, not a meme stock, but with Rivian, we've been trading Rivian for a while. Rivian had been a bidden stock. It is at least a legit company. I've been seeing a lot of Rivian cars now, and they are based in Illinois. And yeah, they're doing pretty good. But of course, with all these startup companies, most especially EV cars, it takes them a while for them to be profitable. So right now they are still in a negative zone when it comes to profit, but that is always is the case with a startup company, but otherwise they are a legit company. Their cars actually, I think, is even nicer than Tesla. Been seeing bunch of Cybertruck, and I'm not really impressed with that. I think it's just all hyped, and yeah, not really into those. But anyway, so with Rivian, what I saw is it had been an oversold. The lowest that Rivian was able to reach was 8.27. Wow, that is really low. 8.27. I swing Rivian before, but I did have to close my position at around 10 something just because I did not like that it's consolidating and you know already that it's going to break that support. And sure enough, it only takes 2.5 weeks before it created a new low, and that's the time that it went to 8.42. So having a little bit of a background with Rivian, with all the meme stock, I'm not interested in trading, but I like trading the one that I know for a fact is not just a meme stock, and at least some retail traders like me who is very conservative is able to ride those moves. So given that we're only watching six stocks and four of them is a meme stock, one is SPY, one is Rivian, we did not have any chance to look for other stocks. So yeah, we just traded Rivian. So what I saw with Rivian, this one is an A plus setup still, is a gap up. So it opened at, see here, it opened at 11.48. At one point, it touched that 11.76. I think it would be clearer if I have my pen. So it opened at this level. At one point, touch 11.77. What I've been seeing with Rivian is, sorry about the noise, um, you have the VWAP right here, and it is respecting the VWAP. So it's respecting the VWAP, and we can do a VWAP play with this. So the VWAP play is you have a huge gap up, which is more than 3% with Rivian. Initially, of course, now it's just 3.6 because it already have a pullback. But initially, it is at least 5% gap up. So you have the gap up. You have a very strong 15 minutes. The 5 minutes looks like it had a pullback. And with the pullback, I always prefer to enter long at the pullback rather than having or starting a position when it's going higher high, higher low, just because at least it gives me a lower risks as well as I can have a tighter stop loss. So you have your doji right here, very strong, a huge gap up. It is encountering the VWAP. what I saw with the 5 minutes is even if the VWAP is right here, we have those hammer that is sitting right there at the VWAP. So I entered long when we got that hammer, that confirmation. Stop loss is just below the VWAP. So I entered long here, added to my position. And then when I saw that it is about to break the high of the day, that's the time that I added to my position. So another add here. Now look at this wedge right now. So this is another form of, you get to have to train your eyes how it looks like. You have a gap up, there is a wedge. The wedge is trying to break that resistance, and that's the reason why we added into this position. So added to this position, sure enough, it popped. Of course, as soon as I was partialing and then all out, then it went past through 12. I just didn't like that it was encountering that strong resistance, that I went all out here before having it push through 12. The thing with building up a position right here is I want to lower down my risk as well by having a little bit of being aggressive with partialing and taking those profits. So one more thing that is a challenging part with trading in the laptop is I am not able to trail my stop with, moving it horizontally. I haven't configured it yet with the new DAS, the upgraded DAS. They just hide, like, everything is in this format, which is different from the old format. So I did not like that part. I have to play around with this data config first, and when the market just opened, everything is moving. There's just no time for me to configure it and miss the move. So that's why I was even putting orders, marketable order, in that way I don't have to drag around my stop loss, my entry. And with the montage not having that shortcut, then my hands are tied. It is just doing the marketable order at the same time, just no partialing, but putting in the number of shares that I want to partial, unlike in the desktop where I have it as, partialing at 25%, partialing at 50% of my shares. So kind of a bit challenging to trade on the laptop, but this is our traveling setup, and yeah, we still made it work. Rivian now is getting interesting because this one is a doji, or that one is a hammer. Let's see if it touched yesterday's closing price or yesterday's high. It still has a room. It still has 11.17. But remember that that's just a zone. So the lowest here is not 11.17, but 11.25. But imagine that 11.17 and 11.25, it's just a zone. So if there is a big order sitting at the ask, this can also be a good form of long. But we'll call it a day. So yeah, but that can serve as a long entry there, with the stop loss, of course, is the low of the day, and you do have your levels here. So yeah, entry now 11.35 with a stop loss of 11 point like 20. So 35, 20. So you're risking 15 cents to have at least 2-to-1 ratio is, if it's 11.35, 45, 65, 11.75. It's going to be a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And right now this is pushing higher. So yeah, that's how you look at the setup. Now that setup was a good entry because SPY also looks like it had found the support. So that is the Rivian. So with Rivian, with initial entry at 11.66, and we were able to capture it all the way to 11.94. So a couple of cents away, or a couple of cents below, or less than 30 cents. with the volume that we did, as well as the adding to that position. I think that will be clearer in the 1 minute. Yeah, we were able to be profitable with that Rivian. So started here, added, also add to this, and we were able to ride it all the way to 11.93. But we did leave money on the table, which is 11.92 all the way to 12.12. So around 15 cents that we left. But that is the case with trading. You cannot capture the whole move, but as long as you have a solid strategy, then you should be good. All right, so with Rivian, profitable trade there. We got 1200 there, and then the hood part, it is just a scalp trade. So what I saw with hood is this is an opening range breakout. I know it is not exactly like, in 30 minutes it happened. Because what happened here is you have the first 15, second 15. We are encountering that strong resistance, 18.34. So that 18.34 is the high of the day. So this level right here. Now, hood is a gap up more than 3% at the open. So I'm long bias. When I saw that it had been trying to break off of that resistance, we have that wedge. So another pattern here, you have your wedge, right? If I can, okay, you have your wedge here. You have a gap up trying to push higher than that resistance. So I entered long here, but what I don't like about hood is I build up my position, and then building up the position, it was just consolidating. So in the 1 minute, the consolidation there is clearer. But what time was that? Around 10:10 or before 10:10, consolidating for a while. This is a meme stock, or at least being highly traded by the Reddit community. It was consolidating here. I did not like the wick. So even before the pop, I just went all out, which is totally fine with me because you did had a big pullback here before it went through. So not the cleanest, but we were able to get some profit out of that and scalp the move. So that one is one of those scalp trade. So with that, we were able to, let's see, the hood. I like that hood. 270 for that. So yeah, ending the day with 1500. And yeah, so I know it's getting loud in here. They're just cleaning and doing, yeah, the grass. So perfect timing because we're almost done. So pardon the noise. But for those, let's see. Uh-huh. Let me just mute this. Sorry. Let me trying to mute it, but all my screens is limited. So, all right. So yeah, just a quick um note here. If we get a little bit of time. Okay, so for those of you guys who are asking on where to begin on how to day trade for a living, please feel free to check our website, and it's called ecourseunlock.com. We are venturing out into real estate as well, so we've been doing some dabs into real estate investing, so check that one out as well. For real estate investing, we still have some materials that we need to upload there. So that's coming soon. But day trading, if you want to learn more on how to day trade for a living, please feel free to check this
If
website,
you ever
and
dream of
you will see there
clearing
as
more
well
time
our
in a day,
services,
or ever
our
wanted to
syllabus.
start your own
Now there's
business
more than
so you can
64
experience
hours of
more
learning, and
autonomy,
we add to
not
the
having
content
to report to
weekly,
a
so
boss,
learning never
and
stops.
having the
So please
liberty
check that
to
one
make
out
your own
and
decision or your own
see
schedule.
website, and
And I am
you
not
will see
talking
there as
about
well our
retirement.
services. So
Every
yes,
day, we
we
get
do
a
have our
fresh
trade
24
recap. So
hours
please
to
feel
make
free
that
to
decision
check that
on
trade
how we
recap
would
at your
spend that
convenience
24
and
hours.
see whether day
Every
trading is
day,
for
we
you.
are in
Now,
the
if you want to
classroom.
just check out
Our decision
our
will determine our
one of
future.
our
In day trading,
strategies
you can reclaim
is
more time from your
also
day
here as
by
a
cutting the
resource. So if you
working
go to
hours to less
freebies,
than 10.
then you will get to check the at least 20 pages of our top trading strategy. If you want to just compare and see whether you're using that strategy as well, please feel free to do so. And with that, thank you so much again for watching. And that's the beauty of day trading. You can be with your laptop, and just as long as there's internet, and you can make a living out of it. But the key here is just the consistency. You don't want to be involved into a meme stock, but you want to be consistent. And with that consistency, you get to obey and respect to those three levels here. And those are strategies of day trading, you have the psychology of day trading, and of course, you have the risk of day trading. If you're gonna be day trading, you have to always use those three M's: method, management, and money. So you need to make sure that you are respecting all those three for you to be able to find consistency in day trading and for you to be able to see the build up in your capital. And with that, thank you so much for watching. We'll do live again, not this Friday because we're traveling this Friday, but we'll do live trade again next Tuesday. And by next Tuesday, we should be in a new location. And I hope that Frontier is able to do their job by then, because it's been a week that we've been waiting for them to put the connection in that new place. So with that, thank you again, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Thank you so much. Bye for now.